For personal finance, we are going to start with values, needs, and wants. So I have the presentation on the left and the note guide on the right. So what are values? Values are something that is desirable, worthwhile, and important. And these are going to help you guide your daily decisions as you move throughout your life. And they're going to be influenced by the people and the things that you surround yourself with. So your family, your friends, and then even the media. So television, movies, social media, anything that you surround yourself with typically. And so this definition, this first bullet point, should match with this third term right here, value. We're going to skip that activity and go straight to needs. So a need, as you probably know, something that is required for survival. So food, water, clothing, shelter, anything you need to continue being alive. And then a want. This is something unnecessary but desired. And a big part of this is something that will increase the quality of life for you. The example I give in class is that we don't need air conditioning to survive, but we are typically a lot happier since we do have it. And then our values also influence the things that we want. So if we value having the newest item or having, a lot of technology, that's going to influence the things that we want and therefore the things that we buy. And then these values influence how we spend our money, and that's the real connection that we have to personal finance. So in the example, if you are an individual who values helping others, you may give money to a church or to a charity because it matches what you value. And that's just a recap of those three terms. I usually spend a minute on this slide in case anybody missed them when we were going through. This next section and a majority of this first page of our note guide is going to be about setting financial goals, and we focus specifically on SMART goals. So to begin, a goal is just the end result of something that you want to do in your life, something you want to achieve, acquire, accomplish, and this can be both in the near or the distant future, and that is thinking about short-term or long-term goals, and we will define those here in just a few slides. And these are 4 ways that goal setting can benefit you, but I would say that lumped together, they really just help you make decisions in order to move along through your life on a path that gets you to where you want to be and helps create well-being for your future. And goal setting can help you manage money, specifically in the sense of financial planning. So financial planning is going to be the way that you manage money throughout your life in order to reach those financial goals. Financial planning is a full career that you could pursue where you then in turn help other people manage their decisions and set their own financial goals. And then up here we're looking for a definition of financial goal, and that's in this third box, the specific objectives that are accomplished through financial planning. When we talk about SMART goals, SMART is an acronym. So these are the 5 different titles for each letter of a SMART goal. This is where you would put that, and that stands for S, you would put specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and then time-bound. This may also be called timely on any future assignments and tests. And so when we think about specific in this longer box, which means specific is a clearly defined end result. So telling you exactly what you plan to use the money for. So if I'm thinking generally, I could say that I want to reduce my debt. That's a decent goal, but I want to be specific. So what type of debt do I want to reduce? I want to reduce how much I owe on my car loan. So using this specific piece for a SMART goal, I know that I'm not focusing on credit card. I know I'm not focusing on a home or student loans or anything like that. I'm focusing on my car loan. Measurable will tell you exactly what you need to know in order to see if your goal has been met. So for personal finance, we're going to think of this as the dollar amount that we are trying to achieve. So in this current goal, I've started my SMART goal. I know that I want to reduce how much I owe on my auto loan, and I'm going to make this measurable by giving a dollar amount of $1,000. I will have reached my goal when I pay an additional $1,000 on my loan. Attainable, these are the steps that you're going to take to actually make your goal a reality and to achieve it. So how am I going to pay this extra $1,000? I'm going to do this by paying an extra $100 per month. Those are the steps I'm going to take. And then realistic. This is not necessarily something that you will write down and include in your SMART goal. This is a process that you will go through in the back of your mind when you are working through the SMART goal. So when you are thinking about it, what are the consequences of the goal that I'm trying to achieve? And then what are the trade-offs and opportunity costs? So a trade-off is just the concept that you are giving up one thing for another. And then the opportunity cost is the value of whatever you give up. So that formal definition is the value of the next best alternative that you will give up as a result of your plan. So what is the value of what I'm giving up in order to pay that $100 extra every month? Maybe I typically spend that on shopping. The value of paying off my debt is better than the value of going shopping. So that's the opportunity cost, paying off my loan. The opportunity cost is giving up shopping every month. That's just an example going through that process. And then again, we're not adding this box right here to our formal SMART goal. This is just the logic that we are using when we are going through this SMART goal process. And then the last goal is time-bound or timely. So specifically, when will I know that my goal is reached? In a sense of time, not in a sense of money. So when we're setting goals, we could set short-term or long-term goals. Those definitions are up here. So short-term, less than 1 year. Long-term would be more than 1 year. So right around that 12-month mark, we're looking either below or above 1 year. So if I know I'm going to be spending $100 per month up until I have spent $1,000, it's going to take me 10 months. So having this fully put together SMART goal, I know that if I don't reach my $1,000 goal, I haven't achieved what I wanted to. If at 10 months I haven't saved $1,000, then I know that I haven't reached my goal and I messed up somewhere along the way. This is just another page where I gave the definitions and gave people a minute to write them down if they missed anything. And then we went through an activity. So looking at this right-hand side, they're all mixed up, and I can identify which box goes with which step of the SMART goal. They're outlined in that color. And this gave a really good resource for when we move to the bottom of this page. Everyone set their own financial goal, and then they wrote it as a SMART goal. And so many people use this as a reference when they were writing their SMART goal. That way they knew what was included in each step. So now moving forward, we went on to scarcity and decision making. And that is the second page of this note guide. So there's a lot of words on this page. This third bullet point is where we're actually looking for the definition of scarcity. And scarcity is the basic economic element and problem in which we have unlimited wants, but we have limited resources. So we may want to buy, unlimited items, but we don't have the money to do that. And so we have to make choices. Scarcity causes us to make choices. And this definition says economic problem, but this is not always in the sense of economics. So scarcity can refer to time as well. We may want to do a lot of things, but we just don't have the time to actually get them all done. Because of scarcity, like I said, we have to make choices, and that leads us to this decision-making process. And you may not have seen all of these steps written out before, but this is a process that you likely have gone through parts or all of it in the back of your mind whenever you are forced to make decisions in your life. So the first step, define the problem. What is the issue that I'm facing at the moment? Then I'm going to obtain accurate information. So what kind of information do I need to help me make this decision? What would help make my choices, narrow down my choices? If I have 5 options, how do I narrow that down to 2 or 3? That way I can have an easier time choosing between them. Once I have more information, I'm going to compare the choices, weigh the pros and the cons. I'm going to make a decision, take action, and then reevaluate. Some of these choices or some of these steps are done at the same time. There may not be a lot of time in between them. So for example, you may make a decision and take action all in the same moment. And then after something's done, you're going to reevaluate and reflect on the choice that you made. Was that the best option? What were the consequences? And then if I had to do it over, would I make the same choice again? Just like on the last slide, we also talked about opportunity cost. And just to remind you, that is the value of the next best alternative whenever you make a choice. That was not required as a term on the first sheet, but it is right here. And then we think about the relationship between these 3. So like I said, because of scarcity, we have to make choices. And anytime we're put in a position to make choices, we go through the decision-making process. And at one point in the decision-making process, we look at our opportunity costs, we weigh our pros and our cons, and we can then continue on with the next steps of the decision-making process. So once we went through all of that, we came down here to the bottom, and I gave everybody an opportunity to go through the decision-making process on their own. So I gave everybody the same prompt: how am I going to pay for my living expenses after high school? From here, you can, go off with what your plans are after high school. The rest of everybody's chart is going to be a little bit different. So, for example, if you are choosing to go to college after high school, this Get Accurate Information section, you may ask yourself questions. What is the room and board at this college that I want to go to? How much does tuition cost? How much is my phone bill going to cost if I have to start paying my bills after I graduate? And so in this box, you can just type in and ask yourself those questions. That's what I'm looking for in the note guides, is asking yourself these questions, because that is what you would be asking yourself if you were actually going through this process. And this may look different if you are planning on moving out of your current living situation and starting work immediately after high school. You may ask yourself, how much is rent? How much are utilities? How much is my car payment? How much am I going to make between these 2 different jobs? And then you can continue on in the decision-making process.